Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News at 5 starts now.
We're going to begin with the weather. Exact Track 4D radar showing rain and snow pushing east into Metro Detroit tonight. Good to have you with us here at 5. We're not talking about a lot, but it is coming as we enter the height of the afternoon rush in spots.
So let's get over to Kim Adams for a look at your forewarned forecast. Hi, Kim.
Hi, Kim. Well, it is a two-clicker kind of night as we do have something on Exact Track 4D radar. Most of Metro Detroit, though, is dry right now. We've got a dry air mass in place, so it will take a little while for this snow to arrive across much of Metro Detroit. But it is snowing now in Lansing and also in Jackson, and then raining south of that in Adrian. We'll zoom in just a bit closer for you, and you can see Clinton getting a few showers right now. In Ann Arbor, though, it's dry, so there's rain to the south. You can see the pink and purplish right there. That's the rain snow mix line. But most of what's going to fall will be snow. It's just going to take it a little time to get here. But over the next hour or two, it will be spreading into parts of Washtenaw and Wayne counties. And it's not going to stick too much, but we could pick up a quick half-inch in a few areas. It's more the timing than it is the intensity of this snow because it is coming at the tail end of the rush hour. 34 in Pontiac, 37 at Metro, 39 City Airport. Looks a little more ominous here on the wider view, but it's only because this right here is not reaching the ground. So I'm going to do a little more street level mapping here over the next couple of minutes. You can also keep track of the weather on our app. Just go to your favorite app store and type in WDIV and download the 4-1 weather app today.
Okay, Kim. Our other top story tonight, we're getting our first look at video of a quadruple shooting outside the Book Cadillac Hotel in downtown Detroit.
Happened around 11:30 last night. You see a blue SUV drive by with people inside opening fire. Grant Herms live right there tonight with new information on the search for the shooter. Grant.
Devin, Kimberly, police think this happened somewhere else between these two groups here. There was a conflict. They left wherever that was, separately came here. They think maybe one of those groups was waiting for the other at this hotel, and now 4 men are in the hospital, and the search is on for the shooter or shooters.
This video given only to Local 4, showing officers helping injured victims as they hobble to a nearby patrol car after a drive-by shooting at the Westin Book Cadillac Hotel in downtown Detroit. Chief White saying the officers applied tourniquets and rushed several victims to the hospital, likely saving at least one life. Somebody got hit. Detroit police showing 2 angles from camera video. The SUV of the would-be victims pulling up to the hotel, and then the other car shows up, someone inside opening fire. Victims run from inside to look for cover. Several of the men can be seen holding what look like gunshot wounds, one clearly limping. From the other angle, police are hoping anyone recognizes what appears to be this dark-colored SUV as it speeds by. And while Chief White doesn't want shootings anywhere, he says the shooters picked the easiest place for them to get caught.
I am confident we're going to make an arrest. That area is filled with cameras, so if there's any place that they wanted to do it, they're helping the police and making a decision to do it there.
This is the latest shooting in downtown Detroit in a stretch of a series of shootings across the city, even after violent crime in Detroit fell last year. The chief reiterating downtown is safe. In fact, it's even his neighborhood.
I still think downtown is safe. I'm not moving. And, but this is a sad situation and unfortunate situation, and a situation where people are using guns to solve simple disputes. Everybody's got a gun. And, we're going to do what we can to constitutionally get them off the street.
And the 4 men who were injured were in about their ages from 20 to 30 years old. We were told last night by an officer on the scene that there was a 5th person inside that SUV that was shot at that then ran from the scene. Today, Chief White said they're actually trying to confirm that that 5th person even exists. Now, the other 4 men were taken to the hospital. A few of them went into surgery. They were brought in critical condition. The other 2 in stable condition. All of them, though, are expected to survive. Back to you.
And we'll hope the chief is right about what he expects the video, all those security cameras to provide. All right, Grant.
I'm Christy McDonald in the Local 4 newsroom. There is breaking news in the Flint water case. The charges against former Governor Rick Snyder have officially been dropped. We knew this was coming, but the judge just officially dismissed the 2 misdemeanor counts of misconduct in office. The Supreme Court ruled back in June that the indictments against Snyder were invalid because the Attorney General's office used a one-person grand jury. It is a rare way to get indictments and apparently had never been challenged before. Snyder is one of 8 people to have their charges dismissed in connection with the Flint water case, and he was the first person in the state's history to be charged for alleged crimes relating to serving as governor. This is a blow to the Attorney General's office, which now has only one criminal case pending in connection with the water switch back in 2014, which exposed families and children in Flint to toxic levels of lead. The Flint water prosecution team put out a statement late today saying they are confident the evidence supports charges against Snyder and will exhaust all legal options. That is the very latest. I'm Christy McDonald from the newsroom. Back to you.
Hey, Christy, thank you. Also breaking right now, Oakland County Prosecutor Karen McDonald is responding tonight to a request from James and Jennifer Crumbley to have their bond lowered. In that response, McDonald says this is the 6th time they've asked for bond to be reviewed, and she believes their case against them is stronger now than at any other point. McDonald alleges Jennifer Crumbley said in the back of a police car that she had been worried her son was going to shoot himself, and despite that concern, had not secured the gun. There's a hearing set for Wednesday on the request, and we will be there.
Now on to some freeway closures that may affect your weekend travel plans. I-75 is going to close between Springwells and Clark Streets in Detroit to set beams. That's part of the Gordie Howe International Bridge project. Northbound I-75 is going to be closed starting tonight at 9. It'll be closed until 10 a.m. Sunday. Southbound I-75 will be closed starting at 9 tonight until 5 a.m. Monday. So head over to clickondetroit.com for a full weekend construction guide.
Tonight, the Macomb County Sheriff is asking for criminal charges for 2 fired employees from the county medical examiner's office. The sheriff says they were stealing drugs that were supposed to be destroyed. Rod Maloney is live tonight. Rod, the county executive is calling for more oversight here, too.
Right. Well, actually, he was able to get more oversight here, Kimberly. And here's what happened. Back in January, they changed contracts with a service provider in the medical examiner's office, which, by the way, is nationally known and nationally accredited. So they changed the contract and they gave the sheriff's office the opportunity to go in and take a look at the operation. There were some concerns. And so in the end, Mark Hackle says he's glad he was able to get that control.
It's sad. I don't think anybody really wants to terminate employees. I think, you want to figure out how do you manage these employees, but let's face it, at times you do have folks that do have some issues.
The sheriff's office targeted the ME's office property room concerning drugs, not the illicit kind, but prescription medications brought to the office accompanying bodies, overdoses, for example, or other situations requiring ME testing. The immediate concern, 20 missing hydrocodone pain pills. Immediately, chain of custody caught investigators' eyes. That prompted tips about inappropriate disposal activities, people pocketing some of those drugs. And Macomb County Sheriff Tony Wickersham says he discovered 19 people had access to the room.
That's not a good policy to have in an evidence room. I mean, as large as the sheriff's office is, I have 4 people that have access to our property room. I don't even have access nor want access to the property room.
So Wickersham's detectives started interviewing everyone, and 2 county employees admitted to pocketing drugs. They're now out of jobs. Hackle has a message for any other county employee.
If they have problems with substance use disorder or substance abuse, reach out before situations happen where you're doing things that you shouldn't be doing, like breaching trust and stealing things and taking things from property rooms like we saw here.
Now, they did not find the hydrocodone pill that they've been looking for, so that means the investigation is still ongoing. This particular case is now headed to the prosecutor's office. Reporting live, Rod Maloney, Local 4.
Okay, Rod, thanks.
You're looking at Brittany Griner's first moments on U.S. soil since her release from a Russian prison. Griner landed in San Antonio early this morning after the prisoner swap for convicted arms dealer Victor Bout. NBC's Drew Petrolamo is in Washington tonight with what comes next, including the push to bring Novi's Paul Whelan home.
It's news that Brittany Griner's friends, family, and supporters have been hoping for. Their relief and gratitude pouring out as Griner is finally back in the U.S. But the deal to get her home is also facing backlash. Early Friday morning, Brittany Griner taking her first steps back on American soil, arriving at an Army hospital in San Antonio for routine evaluation.
We are overjoyed, overjoyed.
While the return is being widely celebrated, the deal that secured her freedom is under intense scrutiny. In the trade, Viktor Bout, a notorious Russian arms dealer, was released from U.S. custody.
We should have never released Viktor Bout. It was a dangerous concession to Vladimir Putin.
The White House defending the trade.
Nobody's doing backflips over here about the fact that Mr. Bout is a free man.
The deal also being criticized for not including the release of Paul Whelan, an American businessman and former Marine who has spent 4 years in Russian custody. Whelan speaking from prison to CNN.
I don't understand why I'm still sitting here. I'm greatly disappointed that more has not been done to secure my release.
The Biden administration promising to continue working closely with Whelan's family to fight for his release.
They weren't going to, in my opinion, send both Paul and Brittany home at the same time and give our president the win.
Griner was held in Russian custody for 10 months after being arrested at a Moscow airport, accused of possessing a small amount of cannabis oil. Russian state media recently releasing footage showing Griner working at a Russian penal colony infamous for its harsh conditions.
BG, we love you. We thank you for your sacrifice.
Experts say Griner's release could help open the door to negotiations for the release of other Americans currently being held in Russia. Experts are also warning that these negotiations could encourage Putin and other adversaries to jail more Americans as they seek to gain an advantage over the U.S. diplomatically. Reporting from Washington, I'm Drew Petromo, Local 4.
We are just getting started on this Friday.
Well, let's check in with Jason.
Ypsilanti's first new residential development in 50 years is going in right here. Coming up, we'll tell you about the special person it's named after and who's not wild about it.
All right, Jason. Also, Kim Adams tracking snow on Exact Track 4D radar as it pushes into Metro Detroit tonight. She's back with an update right after the break. Pam.
Southfield police giving us a behind-the-scenes look at the danger their officers encounter every single day after two back-to-back armed robberies lead in chases and arrests.